Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olson, the Tolkien Professor, and I am joined, as always, by my friend Gryfflet, who has been kind of mesmerized by this waterfall, as I know I always am mesmerized by waterfalls. So he's standing here at this beautiful waterfall in the Limlight Gorge, in the peaceful, bucolic Limlight Gorge, where so many people love to come for little vacation stays and bank holidays and that sort of thing. However, the other thing, apart from waterfalls, that's on Gryfflet's mind, I have to admit, is where did all my skills go? So that's he can throw a knife now, which is kind of awesome, right? So I've not loaded the game since I did the update, which I was fortunately advised how to do. So I've got a re-spec. Okay, right. That's where all my skills went. Aha. Okay. And there we are. Indeed. All gone. Got it. Okay, so we made changes to burglary. So hang on a second. Maybe let's go back to Redline then, just for fun, because we can. But I still get to throw a knife. Ooh, hey. Okay, so just by choosing that, I got some things. Here, what did I get? Knives out, right? And feint attack, right? Okay. So let's start doing some things. I did not even realize that I had to totally re-spec it here. Okay, let's see. I gotta remember what these things are. Stun dust, right? Okay, I remember that. Don't I get a skill for that? No? Dance of Blades? Sure, that sounds interesting. What's this one? Aim. Ooh, yeah, I always forgot to do that. What does aim do again? Result in a critical hit. Okay, sure. I remember that one now. Right? And, what's this one? Deft Strikes. Hey, sure. Yeah, that sounds good. And Strike from Shadows. Why shouldn't we do? Attacks enhanced by stealth are more likely to crit. Hey, that sounds like fun. What's this one? Well practiced, am I? Find footing cooldown. I don't even remember that skill. Okay, what does this one do? Flashing Blades. That looks handy. 2 attacks. Why not? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Backstabbing. Sure. Oh, wait. Wait, to trip people? Trip. When stealth, stun an enemy, and enable a fellowship maneuver. Also sounds like fun. Okay, what does this one do? Improved hide in plain sight. Well, that's good in case I ever remember to do hide in plain sight. And coup de grace. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously. Yeah, sure. And sneak attack. Plus 100% damage from stealth. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Cool. So we'll... What's this one? Vital points? Hey, why not? What does this one do? What's this? Hidden dagger. Oh, it's just adding some more stealth damage. Sure. All right. Cool. Why not? Woohoo. Oh, there they all are, too. How about that? I'll have to learn again where everything is. No problem. All right, I'll organize later. Okay, well, this will be fun. Okay, so, hi, Rosie, welcome back. So, we're just about done with the Limlight Gorge. I just got to go talk to Ents again, I think. Report back that that is, I should say, we... Gryfflet was the official observer in the... Oh, no. Where are we? Okay, there's the road. Okay. Gryfflet was the official observer in the instance which led to the defeat of the boss spider who was poisoning the roots of the forest. I still don't understand how this is the roots of Fangorn because geographically speaking, we're not really quite in Fangorn. But I'm still willing to roll with it. Okay. And... All right, so who am I supposed... Wait. Oh, I don't get to talk to anybody after doing the instance? Really? Like the instance is its own reward? Oh, but I've got to get one more horn seed. Forgot about that. All right. One more horn seed. Okay. All right, Kyriana, going back for one more horn here. All right, I'm going horn hunting. I did like 4 of them, none of whom dropped. Oh, there's one. Okay. All right, let's dismount. Let's jump. Where's my jump? There's my jump. Okay, let's stealth myself. And then I can use all of my new positional damage things. What's that? Strike the... Oh, great. Never mind. Oh, I should have thrown... Hang on. Can I throw my dagger? Let's try. Woohoo! Oh, yeah. I'm using missile weapons like nobody's business. I have another one. Just because. Okay. That's fine. That was good. Hey, can I trip the tree? Yes, I can. I'm going to trip the tree. Oh, wait. The target doesn't meet skill requirements. Why not? Does the skill say it cannot... Okay, while... Oh, I'm not stealthed. Okay, I have to be stealthed. Oh, well. I was going to say, does it explicitly say that you can't trip a tree? I really wanted to trip a tree. I'll have to try that later. Well, if this one doesn't drop a seed, I may get the chance. Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, while I'm fighting random trees, hoping to restore seeds to the Ents over there, let me answer a lore question. So Tony had a really interesting lore question earlier on today, which was, with regards to the multiple layers of authorship and narration in The Lord of the Rings, how much of that was intentional when Tolkien wrote it? How much was Tolkien's retcon later on? And how much is our projecting headcanon after the fact? Really, really good question. So first, let me just make sure we're all on the same page as to what Tony's talking about. I'm pretty sure I know what he's talking about because we've had these discussions a lot in Exploring the Lord of the Rings. So by layers of authorship, we mean... Yes, dropped a seed, the first one. Hooray! Okay, so when we talk about levels of authorship, what we're talking about is sort of the question of the narrators, right? So you've got Tolkien wrote it, but within the frame of the fiction, he didn't make it up, right? There's the modern translator of the text who is transmitting it to us, right? And then you've got the original authors of the text, right, who is mostly Frodo, sometimes Bilbo, and sometimes Sam, right? And possible later additions and emendations by Sam and or Frodo as editor, right? You've got Findegil, King's writer, who may have added some stuff in Minas Tirith after the fact. So thinking about all these things, thinking about the sort of fictional composition history of The Lord of the Rings. And so, as I say, in Exploring the Lord of the Rings, we've talked about this a fair bit. We sometimes will be reading a particular passage and be asking ourselves, does this sound like a Frodo passage or a Sam? Did Sam write this or did Frodo write this? And it's a really fun game to play when you're reading The Lord of the Rings. So Tony's question, did Tolkien plan all that out from the beginning? You know, how much of that is Tolkien's explicit plan? You know, was he thinking like, okay, here's a Sam passage, and then there's is there another one where he's saying, here's, this is totally written by Frodo. So again, how much was intentional when Tolkien wrote it? How much was Tolkien's retcon, and how much is just us projecting headcanon onto it? Kyriana, you taking the tree with you? You're dragging a root? Oh, man. That root is really attached to you. It's not very kind to your horse to drag that root around. You should let it go. Reminds me of like when my son Matthias brought his rock collection along with us on vacation. You know, like you don't really need that. Yeah, you did take a souvenir. Just let it go. That would be my advice. But anyway, okay, thick bark. Seeds from long friends. Well, there you go. Happy to facilitate the reunion. And boom! That's it. That's it. And I think we're done with the Limlight Gorges. We've finished. Hooray. Okay. So Gryfflet's going to get out. Yes, sir. All right, so I'm going to write out. I'm going to keep answering Tony's question. Okay, where was I? Here I am. Okay. All right. So, as I was saying, Tony's question, how does it fall? So, the question of what was Tolkien's intention when he originally wrote it, that seems relatively clear. It seems relatively clear to me that Tolkien was thinking of none of those things when he originally wrote it. I mean, some of the material, of course, that we're talking about was written by Tolkien practically before... oh, Kyriana wants to join again. What, did you unjoin to get rid of the root? Were we having root and boot issues? Anyway, sorry. So some of that material Tolkien wrote before he invented Sam as a character. Like, it's just to give an illustration of how far away from, you know, the final vision of where he was going with this stuff Tolkien was. So there is no question in my mind that very, very little indeed of the original text was written with that stuff in mind. Now, I think a much bigger percentage, much bigger than zero, how about that? I think a much bigger percentage of it was retconned actively by Tolkien afterwards. I mean, indeed, even just by introducing it at the end of The Return of the King, you know, the whole, like, introducing the Red Book, and that is, you know, in its final stage there, we do get Bilbo's book, right, from the beginning, and even in The Hobbit itself, we see Bilbo writing his book. But again, that's different from the concept of the Red Book of Westmarch as it is introduced, you know, in The Return of the King, right? Anyhow, so the idea is clearly developing in Tolkien's mind. Tolkien's impulse to have the story be transmitted to us by hobbits and to have him serve in the role of modern editor and translator, that is clearly an old impulse. It goes all the way back to The Hobbit. And you can see this not only in the inclusion of Bilbo's book in the last chapter of The Hobbit, but you can, you know, he's actually writing it when Gandalf and Balin show up. But in addition to that, you can see it in the runes on the front cover of The Hobbit. So the dwarf runes in the front cover, if you transliterate those, they mention that The Hobbit is compiled by J.R.R. Tolkien. He's positioning himself as a modern editor or translator, as I said. Oh, wait, hang on. Is this something to hand in or to get again? Are you kidding me?
The Rohirrim will need your aid.
No, I'm not going back to collect webs. I'm sorry. So what, these popped up after I went in, but, oh, seriously? Defeat trolls? You've got to be kidding me. No way, man. I've already done that. I cleared out as many webs and killed as many trolls as you could possibly ask for and still remain reasonable. Okay. So I want to go back to Stangard because I'm heading to Parth Celebrant. As I recall. Okay.
Welcome, my friend.
That's right. Stangard. Okay. So again, this impulse of where are you going? This impulse to have to position himself as the modern editor and have the hobbits be the actual source of the material, as I say, is an old impulse on Tolkien's part, which seems to be there from the beginning. But the sort of history of the writing of The Lord of the Rings doesn't fully manifest itself until the end. of the Lord of the Rings. So but I do think a lot of it is actively retconned, and certainly when you read the note on Shire Records section of the prologue, that is definitely retcon. Like that's where you see the actual Tolkien's actual retcon at work here. All of a sudden, I'm being invited to travel to the Yule instance. I think Trish must be involved in this. Am I being indirectly invited by the Lotro Maven to the battle at Frostbluff? I think, aha, yeah, I thought so. Okay. All right. Well, hang on a second. Before I start a new instance where I'm going to have to think about things, let me just finish this answer to Tony quick. So anyway, that section is the section where you can see that is his retcon in action, right? What he writes in that section, that note on the Shire Records, that is the act of retcon that he. That is the act of retcon that he's enacting there, right? Inviting us to review the entire Lord of the Rings and to see it from the light of the Hobbit authorship. So his active retcon is what makes me feel justified in asking those questions and answering those questions. But again, it's another illustration of how Tolkien's original intention, in a sense, doesn't matter all that much. Like even he himself doesn't take the text in that way, right? Like he disregards his own original intention and places it in a completely new context through the note on the Shire Records, right? So I feel therefore totally justified in doing that same kind of thing. Okay. All right. Fine. Instead of heading to Parth Celebrant, I am apparently heading to Frostbluff in order to fight the children of Winterhome. No, wait. What? A fierce cold has come down from the mountains, threatening the games the children of Winterhome are playing in the fields. Okay. So the winter is coming down and is going to stop them from playing Winterhome games. And apparently this must stop. Or not stop. Right. Okay. Fine. I have an idea. How about instead I do the Yule Festival today? Okay. What's going on here? We've got the Squire of Cluckland and the Queen of Cluckland. Does she have a crown? She does. Ah, Your Majesty, the Queen of Cluck, and Gryff, the Frostbluff King, and Kor, the Frostbluff King, and Una. So Frostbluff is a progressive nation with multiple kings. Is this kind of like Narnia, right? Like how can there be how can there be 4 kings and queens at once? Okay, so we've got Una, Kor, and Gryff, all of whom are king of Frostbluff. And I like Liddy over here, who is clearly the humblest of all of them, right? Wynn is imagining himself a noble knight, and frankly, he looks a little bit antisocial, right? I'd be kind of most worried about him as he's standing there with his arms crossed and his back to everybody else. Just imagining himself an entirely detached knight who apparently has nothing to do with the complicated politics of Cluckland and Frostbluff over here. Whereas Liddy, you see, is clearly my favorite of these children because she is setting herself up as only, or he, I don't even know the gender of said person. I think it's a girl. Anyway, she has set herself up only as the squire of the Queen of Cluckland over here, whereas these 3 over here are setting themselves up to be monarchs. And so Gryff, Una, and Kor, you should know that in Tolkien's world, noli episcopari, right? Only the one who says, I do not want to be a bishop, should be a bishop, right? So, Tolkien feels pretty strongly about that when it comes to leaders. So if you set yourselves up to be kings of Frostbluff, it's probably a bad sign, and you may end up falling catastrophically and slaying your own kin or doing something horrible. And we wouldn't want to see that happen to such bright young children. So I'm glad we had this talk. All right, so Win is not being antisocial. Phil is telling me he's facing where I popped in, waiting for me to talk to him. I see. So it's me who's being antisocial, just turning my back on Win, the noble knight here. Okay, fine. I'll reposition myself to where he was looking at me, but it doesn't change the fact, Phil, that he's got his back to the rest of his friends, and his arms crossed. So I'm just saying that I think it looks woohoo. Okay, you're woohooing now. I see. So you woohoo. Oh, did you woohoo because Kyriana clicked on you? I bet you did. Because now, look how much larger the ring is above the head of the Queen of Cluckland. Lydia, I'm going to talk to you first. Let's see. Okay. You cannot speak on the Queen's behalf, for you're merely a squire. You have heard the rumors that a bold burglar was to assist the realm of Cluckland. Why is that in purple? Okay. If I succeed, you'll sing songs of the day. Okay. Well, I'm succeeding in what? Assisting. Okay. Your Majesty. There we go, Liddy. You're the best. Bok bok. Right. Okay. Bok bok bok. Okay, you don't say. Yes, the situation is dire, my queen. Liddy is the best, obviously. Okay. So there is a dire situation. Win is just woohooing. I don't even know what he's about. All right. Are you going to present your resumes to be the King of Frostbluff? Or are you not in competition? Right? You're again, just it's a team where it's an oligarchy. Okay. Your fortress upon Frost Lake is under siege. When the moment is right, we must reclaim my keep. You decree this as the King of Frostbluff. See, again, I think really we need to consider your attitude here, Griff. I'm uncomfortable. Capture the Tower of Grumpwood. Okay. Oh yeah. No, see, we're in dispute. This is a civil war. We have a divided kingdom, and so wait, I was supposed to choose. I was choosing the rightful King of Frostbluff by who I spoke to. How was I supposed to know that? Which one is the grimmest? Likely about. Great question. Griff. No, he doesn't really look that great. Core looks the grimmest. Definitely. I mean, she has fetching braids, but she also looks with her arms akimbo there and everything. Yeah, I think Core looks the grimmest, honestly. Okay, so I'm supposed to capture the Tower of Grumpwood, but so wait, I just have to obey Griff? I thought I was going to help the Queen of Cluckland. The Queen of Cluckland is pretty firm about this, and I agree, I like Liddy best. Yeah. Well, see, exactly, Pontine. It's the Arnorian situation that I'm worried about here, right? This is a bad look, people. Oh, well. But I guess I have no choice. The only quest information I have is about the Tower of Grumpwood. Maybe if I seize the tower or capture the Tower of Grumpwood, I can then reason with Griff and tell him to stop asserting his own will in such a way. But okay. All right. So what do we do? I'm going to come down here and there's snow. Oh, wait. These are not just snowmen. They're snowmen with multiple arms spinning in circles. Wow. That's not good. And there's snow glowing in piles. Okay. And there's a flag. Wait, there's a flag? It's got is that a snowflake or is that a sun? No, it's a snowflake, but it looks like a sun or maybe a moon there in them. It's got a big fat center, right? And stars, I guess. So that's the banner of the King of Frostbluff, I suppose. Okay, so I'm supposed to capture it. How do we do that? So, hi, you're going to attack me. Okay. But you collapsed into a heap in the process of attacking me, which I see. I see. Is that how it is? Oh, I can't trip you. Oh, wow. You just slaughtered me. That was kind of amazing, actually. Here I was, looking at your snowman parts, and you just, took me out. It's okay. So, why is this one wearing gloves and the other one isn't? Okay. Whew. Oh, and there's a wisp. Oh. It's wearing knitted gloves, that one was. Look, I've never seen a villain wearing knitted gloves before. I don't really think that happens. Or top hats. Okay, no, villains do wear top hats. That's, I think, certainly in character. Oh, can I throw a knife at somebody? Somebody attacking us? Who's attacking us? Are you attacking us? Yes, you are. I want to throw a knife at you. Oh, except you went past me. Ignoring me. Oh, there you go. Oh, I just did hundreds of points of damage to you with that knife. I mean, hundreds. Okay. Oh, right. Yeah, we're moving on. So what happens with the snow? We have to. What do we do with the snow? I do have the quest. So what happens with the snow is glowing? So I'm going to collect it. We're collecting. No, she's collecting the snow. Kyriana has the snow. What are we doing with the snow? What are we meant to do with the snow? I don't understand. Okay, collecting snow. Ooh, perfect snowballs. Great. I must confirm binding? Where? Okay. I think Gryfflet is not ready to make a long-term commitment to those snowballs, so that's okay. An inert snowman. Hi, Mr. Coldgram. Yeah. So, I've got to tell you, I am not necessarily 100% in favor of the would-be King Griff's policies. I don't really speak for his regime. I frankly think that Cor looks more kingly in the sense that she both is more grim and also has nice braids. So, wait. Mountain Cold has launched a counterattack. Oh dear. We're counterattacking. They're counterattacking. Oh, here comes one. Here he is. All right. He's spinning. Is he die or no, he's not. He's not dead. He's just lying down. Okay. So they do that. The Cold Grims, he takes a nap and that's fine. All right. Okay. This is, oh, no. Yes, there we are. He's behind me now, and I'm okay with that. Can I stun him? Oh, yes. And a fellowship maneuver. Why are you still attacking me during that? Shouldn't we? Okay. Good, good. Okay, so I'm repelling the counterattack. So, but what about the other kings? Someone's still attacking. Where's the wisp? Oh, there's right there in front of me. The punishing cold continues to attack. So it was a tower and now it's a fort. If I just stand right by the fire, wouldn't that be a fairly effective anti-snowman measure? Maybe, but perhaps not. Okay. Great. All right, so wisps. I don't know exactly what makes a wisp especially cold, but hey, look at that. Can I trip him now? Oh, quick. Yes, sir. Oh, I tripped a wisp. Oh, yeah. Where's my cursor? It's snowing. I can't see my cursor, so right. Oh, well. Anyway, but that was awesome. I tripped a wisp. The cold is in retreat. Reclaim the fort for the children. Yeah, but which child? Oh, Win has come. Win is woohooing. So he's like noble knight / cheerleader is clearly his position. So, all right, I'm going to capture that. So this is the tower. It looks more like a pole, honestly. It does have, I do like the banner. But that's okay. All right, here we are. We're claiming the tower. Grumpwood Tower has been secured. Great. Okay, so, but, right. The Keep of Cluckland. Oh, no. Okay, but which king? I've seen, no one else seems bothered by the political ramifications, but I'm a little concerned. Anyway, okay, that's fine. Let's go to Cluckland, then, which I gather is in the other direction. It's up the hill. Okay, so we're going this way, and this is Cluckland Keep. Great. Oops. Okay. So we got knocked into the rest of them, which is fine. And I really want to trip a snowman now. But my trip hasn't reset. Well, fine. Whoa, we just stopped a snowman. That seems a little overkill-ish. Okay, so I see the chicken coops up here. And a fairly random lamppost. Okay, this... So, what is up with this? So there's the mitten snowman and there's the sticky snowman, right? And, wait, oop. The sticky one just seems to have a lot of sticks. I understand that the other one has a lot of arms as well. I mean, there were certainly more than 2 mittens involved. But this just kind of, maybe it's the way he's spinning around. It just sort of looks like he's kind of going for an I'm disguising myself as a thorn bush kind of thing, which... And okay. Makes me think of Sam, you know, like saying that if he didn't know that anything grew in Mordor, but if he had known, that's just what he would have expected, those thorn bushes. So, like, I didn't know that snowmen could attack you, but if I had known, I would have expected them to look like a briar bush, right? Okay, so let me see if the snow over here is willing to make a more temporary alliance than the other snow was. Let's see, more perfect snowballs. No, I don't know how to bind them. Binding them doesn't seem to be working. So again, I think just Gryfflet is not ready to commit himself. Which, like, you know, come on, you need to respect his boundaries. And I think we can all work with that and move on. I have to click on the snowball? But what do you mean click on the snowball? I did click on the snowball. Let's see. Hang on. Where did it go? Where's my cursor? I hate it when it's snowing. Okay. My cursor's tiny and it looks like a snowflake. All right, so I am clicking on it. I'm clicking on it. I'm clicking on loot all. It's not giving me the option. No. Right click on it? Why did loot all not work? Weird. It didn't prompt me to bind it. Okay. Did they change how, like, loot, like, is the loot all button just, is it going to do this when I find chests and corpses and things like that too? Loot all. No, you don't want me to loot all. I can't loot all. I can right click, but I can't loot all. And it's just the snowballs. Okay. All right. I'm finished looting snowballs in the special way. Okay. See, how many arms do you have, Mr. Coldgrim? You have 7. 7 arms. Now, is that actually more? Hang on. How about Mr. Stick over here? How many sticks does he have? Well, gosh, he's spinning awfully fast. Kind of hard to count now, but he's got 2 heads. You don't have 2 heads. No, you don't. But you have distinctly 2 heads. So I get that, you know, we're having these be sort of like, you know, hideous and mutated snowmen. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Huh, although it looks like he's full of sticks, I think he has fewer sticks. I think there are only 6 sticks involved there. Whereas there are 7 mittens involved. That's interesting. See, look at that. I would have guessed wrong. Oh, you think Calvin made them, JJ? Calvin's snowmen strips are some of my very, very favorite. Counterattack. We're being counterattacked. Hang on. What's going on? Over this way, right? When I used to teach English 101, I used to assign a paper on some of the snowman strips from Calvin and Hobbes. And, you know, my students would always be like, how can I write a 3-page paper on, like, this strip? There are barely even any words in it. But you see, it was like my way of introducing them to, like, you know, how you do analysis and how that works, because these are the same people who would be like, how can I write a 3-page poem on a 14-line poem? There's almost nothing to it, you know. You understand. That's the point of, like, how you get into doing this analysis. But yeah, those are so rich. Oh, man, I just love those. Oh, and a wisp. Okay, we're almost done with the inescapably futile counterattacks of the punishing cold. Oh, there we go. All right, let's just rock the positional damage bonuses. Okay, where are we? More counterattacks coming, I think, from this direction. All right, very good. Oh, Madman Model, are you like the parents trying to take a picture of him? Those are very good. Matthias threatened to do that at picture day. Both of my kids love Calvin and Hobbes. They've both we had, my wife and I had all the Calvin and Hobbes books, so they've been reading those for a long time. A frost beast. Where's the frost beast? Oh, I see. The frost beast is over there. Hang on, we gotta carry on with counterattack here. Oh man, yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Yes, I have to admit, like, Calvin's dad is kind of my role model. I really love. Like even when I was young, I loved the strips where, you know, Calvin is talking about his father's polls and everything. You know, if he's thinking of running for dad again and all that. Yeah. Okay. Oh, here comes. But where did the encounter go? Wasn't the encounter back over here? Yeah, it is. I'm gonna go find the frost beast because that sounded like fun. Let's see, where's the frost beast? What does it look? Oh, there it is. Look at that. A winter warg. See, now that looks legitimately dangerous. Not that animated, you know, snowballs don't look legitimately dangerous, but let's see here. Okay. We're sneaking. Which one is the sneaking skill? I forgot. Let's see. Not that one. Well, I can trip him from stealth. Maybe I should just do that. Ho-ho! I tripped the wolf. Not quite as cool as tripping a... oh, he's gone. Okay. Well, that's fine. Whew! All right. Let's go back and reclaim Cluckland in the name of the Queen of Cluck. Wait. Did I go the wrong way? Yes, I did. No problem. As they say, Cluckland in the name of the Queen of Cluck. I see who's already reasserting her dominance. Oh, and oh yes, we have, right, her subjects, her loyal subjects following along behind her. They need to increase their population here. What is she doing? Okay. Oh, these are all subjects just going around in a circle. The queen is over here. Okay, Witty. If I can find my cursor, then okay, let's claim this. Very good. Secured from the cold. Still looks taller. Your queen thanks you. No problem. Okay, Fortress of Frost Lake. Okay. Fortress of Frost Lake. No, here we are already. Aren't these just extraneous? This doesn't look like the Fortress of Frost Lake to me. How familiar am I with the layout of Frostbluff? Not very. Yeah, I've been here before. That's happened. Totally has. But I think I mostly was going to the theater. I haven't really done too much exploring. A little bit. Again, I've been here before, but... Okay. Right. I see. So we have to head down that way. So let's not pick fights with any more random snowmen, shall we? There we go. All right. I'm still bleeding or something. It's awful. Okay. Oh, okay. No, I think this is it. Yes. Frost Lake Fortress. Frigid air flows across the frozen floor of Frost Lake Fortress. Strong work on the alliteration. Very good. Okay. Excellent. We're fighting Grims. Let me see if I can get another lore question. Is there anybody here? Oh, there's a Grim. Right. Okay, all right, hang on. Let's see. Ethelon. This is a grammar question. Following somebody's question back in Dunland. Yeah, I remember. It was at that that last village before we went down the river to Wolf's Gap. Question about the Oxford comma in my subsequent rant. Sure, yeah. You've been thinking, are there any situations where it is not applicable or socially unacceptable to use? So any times where it's socially acceptable? I'm trying to follow this here. Hang on. Any situations in which it is not socially unacceptable to use the Oxford comma. Parsing that in a modern sense, there are lots of places, everywhere it's not unacceptable to use it. I think that Oxford comma should always be used in its appropriate place because it is important for clarification. Ooh, wait, hang on. What is this guy's business? He's a haunting cold. Ooh. Okay, so it's like the snowman lord of the dance here, and that's how you could out. So does he make us feel haunted by his ominous dance moves there? He does look pretty scary. Okay, let's, I guess, fight wisps. It's the pointing with the right hand, you know, that's really, truly most disturbing. Anyway, sorry. I'm all wrongly oriented here. So yeah, the Oxford comma is always right. It's never socially unacceptable not to use the Oxford comma. As I'm trying to see how many negatives I can string in there. Yeah, it's fine. Are there places where it's optional? Well, I mean, you know, I disagree with people who, you know, I don't think that, you know, friendships and marriages need to end over the Oxford comma or anything. You know, I have a friend who is a strong opponent of the Oxford comma, and, you know, and it's fine. Like, he and I have agreed to move on, and it's fine. My cold will haunt you forever. You know, your dance moves will haunt me forever. Is that it? What just happened? Did we capture it? No? Are we going to be counterattacked? Are we missing? Oh! There was a snowman who we missed. Yeah, anyway, yeah. So, I mean, I think it's superior, but it's fine, you know? Like, people don't want to use it. I understand. I don't always understand everything that they're saying, but I understand. And, you know, I accept their choice to embrace, you know, slovenly communication and incorrect diction. So it's, you know, like, it's a big world. We can all live in it. You know, not everybody has to be right. I'm just saying, you know, I'm an advocate for toleration and open-mindedness. Okay. So, anyway, good question. Good question. All right, let's see. Dorlin. You've all heard my thoughts on the Jackson movies and a bit about the Harry Potter movies, but you haven't heard me ever comment on the Narnia adaptation movies, Dorlin. Okay. Sure. Well, I think my opinion of them seems to be fairly broadly held. I think I'm, as is often the case nowadays, sort of ironically, if you had known me earlier in my life, I tend to be on the sort of tolerant side when it comes to adaptations. So even people who violently dislike the Narnia films, I found I violently disliked them less. Accidentally killed by a snowman. It happens. So yeah, but I certainly agree with the general. If only I had a cursor. There it is. Huh? Made a cameo. I certainly agree with it. What seems to based on what I've heard, the general assessment that they just like decrease sharply. Right, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is actually pretty good. The Prince Caspian film was not good, but also not absolutely horrible. And then the Voyage of the Dawn Treader was pretty much horrible. Oh, we've got another encounter. Okay. So, I mean, that's my general assessment, but there were a bunch of... So, like, what did I like about the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe adaptation? I liked there was the increased investment in sort of the backstory of the Pevensies was interesting, especially, you know, the way that they began, of course, as the book begins also with the war as a backdrop. But of course, one of the things that's very noticeable in the book is that although World War II provides the frame of the action, right, in the sense like it provides the explanation for why the Pevensies are going off to, you know, Professor Kirk's house. Oh, something is coming. Winter? Is it winter? Is winter coming? No, winter's already here. We've been fighting off winter. Wait. Oh. Shivering Maelstrom. Is the Shivering Maelstrom wearing a hat? Or are those rocks? I can't tell. He won't stop shivering and spinning long enough for me to really tell. So this is the hideous amalgamation of hideous snowmen. I guess those are. He's wearing many hats. Are those claws? Are they hats that are meant to look like claws? Yes, they're hats. Yes, they're many snowman heads. Oh, and a random wisp. Okay. Oh, great. Okay, we can seize it again. So yeah, I like the investment in the backstory of the Pevensies. Again, although the war serves as a frame for the action of the book, we don't really hear anything about the impact that the war has had on the kids, right? There's a little bit of strain, in the like when Edmund says to Susan, stop talking like mother, right? You can hear some strain of their separation from their family and their anxiety and the pressure that Peter and Susan feel to sort of stand in loco parentis to the younger kids, and the younger kids not having the parents and not really being fully willing to accept their older siblings in their place. There are places where you can see this sort of stuff coming through, but it's not very pronounced, and I think it's really interesting to see the way that the initial film, with like concern about dad being away at the war, and the way that ends up kind of mapping into Peter's wartime experience in Narnia, right? Which again, I think is a really powerful connection that they chose to make there, which Lewis doesn't make explicitly anyway, about Peter as battle leader. What is that going to mean to him, as a kid who is seeking refuge in the country? Oh, good, we took care of that beast. Well, what was he? Oh, he's a bear. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I think that was a really interesting idea. So there are a bunch of things that I liked like that, and I liked many of the depictions. I really liked the beavers. I liked the fox character. I thought Mr. Tumnus was reasonably well done. And I thought the witch did a fantastic job. One of my other favorite touches, again, something that wasn't said in the book, but which I really, really liked, that they added in the film, is, of course, you'll remember how the White Witch has Aslan shorn before he's killed, right? So they cut his mane off, and how in the film she makes the mane of Aslan into this like ruff around her neck, right? So she goes into battle wearing the mane of Aslan on the next day. That's a really cool thing. Like, you can totally see the Queen doing that, in both the way that sort of shows like she is putting herself into Aslan's place, right? She has taken up the mantle of Aslan, right? Has stepped herself, placed herself into his role and his authority. But of course, at the same time, mocking him, right? Making a trophy of his mane. Super cool. I thought that was really well done. So there were a lot of things that I really liked about that first film. The second and third films drop off, and of course the third one is really pretty bad. It seems to me that where the badness lay, in the third one chiefly, was in the choice that the filmmakers obviously made the choice at the beginning that they wanted to have a central antagonist, right? They wanted there to be, one core plot, not just let's go on adventures, right? I mean, that's the thing. The Voyage of the Dawn Treader is one of the classic examples, modern examples of like just a purely, episodic story, right? Where there is there are some central ideas and themes, but there is no central antagonist. There is no, apart from, let's find the 7 companions of my father and maybe, hey, we'll find the East. And I agree, JJ, that is the entire charm of the book, right? I mean, it's one of the things that makes that book so much fun. And their choice to say, no, we need one central story. We need one central conflict to go through the whole thing. I think that was a huge mistake. And really tone deaf. JJ, exactly what you were just saying is precisely what they just whiffed on, right? They obviously failed to perceive that the episodic nature of the Voyage of the Dawn Treader is where the charm of the book comes from. And so they chose a totally different direction for the shape of the story. And that, to me, just pretty much did it in. Not because I'm saying that like you couldn't possibly do that well, but their choice to... their super puzzling choice in some ways to make the Dark Island the antagonist. I wouldn't have guessed that, right? I was afraid when they did, make an antagonist. I was afraid it was going to be Koryakin, the magician, the Dufflepud's magician, who they were going to make the antagonist. He was my number one choice for if they do choose a central villain for the story, it's probably going to be Koryakin, right? And I was worried about that in advance, because I didn't want to see that happen to Koryakin. In a sense, it seems to me, I don't know, in some ways, there's some similarities between the badness of The Voids of the Dawn Treader and the badness of the Hobbit films, actually, in that part of the problem of one of the things that holds both of those films back, in a sense, is not the extent to which they leave the book behind, but the extent to which they don't leave the book behind. Had they in the Dawn Treader just decided to make up a villain out of whole cloth, right? Like, okay, we want a central thing, so let's invent a villain who is not even mentioned in the book. Let's just like do a completely new story. That would have been weird in some ways, but I think it would have worked better. Instead, the way the thought process seems to go, I don't know if this was their thought process, but sort of the logic of the film seems to be, okay, we need something that is evil. And the only thing in the book that's like unequivocally evil, even the original dragon isn't unequivocally evil, because the original dragon is probably the Lord Octesian, right? So, and through what we see happening to Eustace, we know that the dragon is victim as much as anything else, right? So like, who are your candidates for villain? This is why I was afraid for the fate of Koryakin the magician, because I was like, there's such a short list. And I have to admit, I did not even consider the Dark Island on my list of potential villains. But they are right to say, right, that they are right to say that the Dark Island is the one, sort of the most unequivocally like troubling evil thing that, like that they're crying out for help and Aslan is delivering them from. I mean, we don't see that in the same way anywhere else. I thought that some of the things they tried to do were kind of clever, but anyway, so I kind of liked the way that they were connecting the sort of dragon sickness to the line that they connected between the dragon treasure on Dragon Island and the golden fountain on Deathwater Island. That I thought was well done, sort of looking at some of the themes of the book and connecting those two things in turn to some of Lucy's temptation in reading the magician's book. They were doing some interesting thinking, I thought, in the film. But again, just the whole like, we're gonna make the Dark Island the villain, as if somehow for some reason that we're totally not going to explain the Dark Island is like going to take over the world, and it was weird. And I just thought it didn't work at all well. But anyway, let's click on our banner here. Okay. All right. I have saved our kingdom. Oh, have we agreed? We are the Frostbluff Kings. Hooray! Okay, so you're gonna rule together. That's great. So glad to hear that. Where's my stupid cursor? Oh, wait. There it is. What an adventure. Whew. Oh, wait, this is the end. Hang on a second. I'm standing... Oh, so the queen has arrived? No, it's not the queen. It's just a subject. Are you in revolt, subject of Cluckland? Are you an ambassador from Cluckland to the new joint kings of Frostbluff? Yeah, I'm gonna... Oh, wait. Oh, I acquired festivity tokens? Is that what was in the chest? Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, JJ, I'm not sure if Frostbluff would be considered a vassal state of Cluckland. I think it's possible that, because Frostbluff is obviously the junior partner in this relationship, right? Because Cluckland had a well-established monarchy while the political situation in Frostbluff was still in flux, right? I mean, there was a time of debate and uncertainty among the rulers of Frostbluff, whereas, again, Cluckland has always been firmly behind its obvious monarch. So, I think Frostbluff seems to be declaring, though, now, in the new unity that they've achieved, a new sort of sovereign state. Maybe that's why the subject from Cluckland just arrived, right? Perhaps the subject of Cluckland here is going to demand the tribute that is due to their feudal master in Cluckland, and the kings of Frostbluff are going to have to find a noble knight who is going to fight the champion of the Queen of Cluckland in order to free the realm of Frostbluff from the annual payment of truage to Cluckland. I think that's likely what happened here. But anyway, yeah, so I think that's my assessment. I would have loved to see the silver chair as well. Of course, I'm a huge Puddleglum fan, so I really wanted to see Puddleglum. And I have to say, in the unabridged audio books, Jeremy Northam, who reads the Silver Chair, does an awesome Puddleglum. I mean, I absolutely love Jeremy Northam's Puddleglum. So I don't know if they would actually have Northam play Puddleglum, but he would be my casting dream for that, because he does such a good Puddleglum. I don't know if they would CGI Puddleglum and have him voice him, or if they would have him motion capture him or something. I don't even know. He's certainly not proportioned exactly like Puddleglum, but who is? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Jeremy Northam was great. If you don't know who Jeremy Northam, he was, let's see, he played Sir Thomas More in The Tudors. He, oh shoot, what was that other thing he was in more recently that I saw? I forget. Oh, Tom Baker's Puddleglum for you. I don't remember. Now that I'm now in season 5 of Tom Baker in the classic Doctor Who. I'm up to season 16 now in the classic Who. So I'm now immersed in Tom Baker and can appreciate that. If I were to go back and watch that now, I would appreciate that very much more, I'm sure, than I did before. Yeah, cool. Anyway, all right. So I think, but Zach, you are right. We would have to be, I think it does imply that whoever the chicken champion was for Cluckland might, then be killed with a fragment of sword in its brain. Would the Queen of Cluckland then keep the piece of sword, after the death and burial of the chicken champion? I'm not sure how this would play out. But anyway. Okay. Very good. Now I have to find my cursor again so I can click on Una. Wait, there it is. There it is. Okay, got him. All right. Hey, happy to help. Happy to help. All right. Well, thank you for that little diversion. I'm glad that we were able to establish peace in those kingdoms. Frostbluff is the larger name of the place, though, isn't it? Right? So they seem to be claiming, like, the suzerainty over the whole realm. I'm just hoping that there isn't civil war in their future and that they can elect champions and, have them fight each other like civilized people. All right. Off we go, Maven. Actually, hang on. No, we don't. I don't have the thing. So I'm going to at least find our new location. I'm not going to start Parth Celebrant now. But let's see if we can find the new location and get set up there, and then we'll begin the main Parth Celebrant investigations when I return from the holidays. So let's see. Looking for one more lore question here. Okay, Hoyabella asked, did Sauron have Denethor under his thumb through the Palantir? Really good question. So, the role... So first of all, what happens to Denethor is kind of complicated, and the role of the Palantir is a little bit difficult to see. I want to be over there and down that way, but I don't want to go through that. Let me see if I can go around. Okay, so first of all, Sauron is not being dominated. Sauron is not dominating Denethor, right? So if we imagine that Sauron is in like control over... Sauron does not have a grip on Denethor in the same way that, for instance, I don't want to get up into Thingolad or else I'm going to be attacked by the deer again. It's not like Theoden, right? Theoden is under the control of Saruman and... Whoa! Oh, hang on. We're stuck. There we go. Okay. A deer! Run! Phew. Oh, that was close. I saw my wife flashing before my eyes there. Oh, it's just a bear. That's okay. Right, so... Wormtongue. Theoden. Theoden's will is... like Gandalf has to break Theoden free. There's a kind of spiritual domination that is oppressing Theoden, and from which he needs to be delivered, and Gandalf needs to invoke his power in order to do that. This is not so with Denethor. Denethor is operating under his own power. Denethor is not being controlled or manipulated or dominated by Sauron. Denethor is being manipulated by Sauron, which is very different.
Welcome, friend.
So Sauron can't make the Palantir lie, but he can manipulate it so that Denethor sees what Sauron, wants Denethor to see. But the conclusions that Denethor draws from what he sees are his own conclusions. So the Sauron's success, the way in which the will of Sauron enters into the heart of their citadel, is that basically Denethor does just what Sauron wants him to do. But again, he's not being controlled in the same way. Again, to me, that's the difference. It's domination versus manipulation. And we see that Sauron is very cunning. As well as being strong, Sauron is also very cunning. Yeah, Madman Modelware, I totally agree with you. His problem is despair, right? Despair is where Denethor gets manipulated, is the direction that he gets manipulated into. The thing to keep in mind, and again, this is relatively clear, Denethor is less daunted by Sauron than Saruman is. Saruman is not dominated either, but if you take the three cases, right? Theoden, Saruman himself in relation to Sauron, and Denethor, right? Theoden is in the worst case. Like his spirit is oppressed. He, he's been enslaved there. And his will has to be freed before he can, and his own will is involved in the setting free as well. But his will has to be free. Gandalf has to exert his power before his will can be set free. Saruman is daunted. Important Tolkien word. Saruman is daunted by Sauron, and he is there is some domination that's going on there. He is drawn to come back and report. Like he can't really choose not to do that. He feels a compulsion to do some of the things that he does. He's still a free agent. He's still trying to defy Sauron, in fact, right? So that shows that his will is to some extent free, but nevertheless he is under the direct influence of Sauron. You know, again, he has been daunted through his confrontation with Sauron, and his own will is now subject to some extent to Sauron. Denethor is not daunted directly by Sauron. He does not submit his will to Sauron. He doesn't yield to Sauron in the way that Saruman does yield to Sauron. So Denethor actually does best of the three. He does better than Saruman. His will is stronger than Saruman's will in resisting Sauron's will. And yet Sauron finds his way through, right? He figures out how to get to Denethor. And that, I think, again, is just by like knowing, taking what he knows of Denethor and like what he knows of human nature and manipulating him to a particular place, right? He's got Denethor pegged, and he brings Denethor to despair, but that's Denethor's choice, right? Again, he's been manipulated, but he's not been dominated. Compelled might be maybe too strong a word, Madman Modeler, but I'm not sure. I think it's definitely stronger than persuasion. When Gandalf describes it, Gandalf says, he wonders how long Saruman has been forced to come back and make reports and to ask for permission for things and stuff. Saruman is not a free agent. He likes to think of himself as a free agent, present himself as a free agent, and he does have the ability at least to think about an attempt to rebel. He's not a faithful servant of Sauron by any means. But he is compelled. His will is not complete. He's not completely enslaved, but he's not completely free either. And I guess I would say, Madman Modeler, it's similar to the effect. I mean, in some ways it's poetic, right? Because it's kind of like the effect that Saruman has on others. He can set his hooks into people so that they are still kind of operating on their own, but his own will and his own thought and suggestions are sort of driving them and haunting them and won't let them go, right? And there again, I general comment. I think who's a Maya and who's not a Maya matters a lot less than people often think. At the end of the day, what matters is like the person and their will. Like, yeah, sure, they're embodied Maya, but so what, right? They still choose, they still have wills, they can be compelled, they can be enslaved. We see Sauron himself and Melkor enslaving others, right? As presumably the spirits of those those spirits who were put into dragons and werewolves and things were enslaved, right? I don't think they volunteered. I don't think they were recruited and persuaded to become werewolves. That's not the way that it's that those creatures are depicted. Remember Luthien's pity even for Karkaroth, right? I know who's different. Anyway, so Sauron does unto Saruman as Saruman does unto Theoden, kind of more directly, right? But kind of, yeah, something like that. Anyhow, good. Yeah. All right. I should run. I got to pick up my kids, but here we are. Gryfflet is ready for picking up the Parth Celebrant quests for next time. We're here in Parth Celebrant in this little settlement here, getting ready to talk to Cerdic and the others here in the camp. And there is the big ruin off in the distance, Ost Celebrant there. And the field of Celebrant is right there where the great battle was. Oh man, we're going to explore that next time. Okay, so Parth Celebrant next time. I will not be here for the next 2 weeks, however, for holiday-related reasons. I'm going to be traveling and doing some other things. But I should be able to be back on the 4th of January, I think. I'm not going to make a 100% promise, but I think I will be back on the 4th of January. And so that's the plan for now. In the worst case, it would be the 11th, but it should be the 4th. So thanks everybody for joining me, and I will see you as soon as I can. Okay, thanks everybody, and stick around for Druid's Fire and her stream, which is coming on next, and thanks for joining me. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.